Now, welcome back to Antigua Barbuda today. Second hour here. All right, we have a special guest this morning. All of them are special, but she's extremely special. She's visiting our beautiful shores, and she's here with us. She's from the Antiguan Barbuda Progressive Society. Her name is Mona Wyre-Manigo. Did I get that right, my darling?
Yes, you did. Certainly did. You did a great job.
Awesome. They have me sitting far from you. For how it looks on TV. I hope you're okay. You're okay?
I'm good.
All right, awesome. All right, you're here to tell us about, well, listen, it's a learning opportunity for myself and I'm sure for Antigua and Barbuda. And the Antigua and Barbuda Progressive Society over there in New York did something extremely incredible. Well, the organization was the architect of something extremely incredible over there in Harlem. When a street was renamed by an Antiguan, Bishop James P. Roberts Way. First of all, just tell us how that came to be. Where did that idea come from?
Well, actually, we did the exhibition at the Schomburg. The Schomburg has the first 50 years of the society.
Okay.
So when we dropped off those papers, I looked back and I said, we have to tell the story. I felt like I was leaving my family behind. And so they had the exhibition, and the exhibition continued for like six months after we did the first exhibition. However, we're still going on with the charitable contributions to Antigua in Harlem and what have you, but something was missing. And I walked around the neighborhood in Harlem, Brooklyn, the Bronx, and all these names pop up, Avenue, Way, what have you. And I'm like, what happened to us, Antiguans and Barbudans? We have people that did great work in Harlem and around the Bronx or wherever. But with my affiliation with the Antigua Barbuda Progressive Society, my focus was on our society, our organization, how I'm going to get our name branded where we are. So we're located at 12 West 122nd Street, where we own the property. Okay. But right at the corner of 122nd, Lenox Avenue, now Malcolm X, and Marcus Garvey. And Marcus Garvey Park.
Okay.
The property is right in the middle of that block. So therefore, my thought process is, if we can get his name, the founder of this organization name, in this corner, actually at this time, we have a slice of the Big Apple. So that was my thought process. So I approached the board, I said, how are we going to do this? I said, we have to get this done. So I formed a team. I had a project manager, I had people that would walk around and get the petitions and what have you. And that was the starting process. So we have to do a proposal. We have to meet with the Manhattan Community Board 10, which controls that whole district. And there's a district manager because they have to approve anything that happens in Harlem, building a property, a building, whatever you're doing, they have to give you the approval. So therefore, we had to do a proposal, as I said before. And there was a young lady by the name of Dr. Taisha Maddox. Her thesis was based on the Caribbean immigrants that came there many, many moons ago in the 1900s. And that's what she did a thesis on. So I reached out to her and a few other people to read Samuel Whitlock. People said, how am I going to get this? We need to put this together. We need to do this for Antigua and Barbuda.
Yeah, but was that process, though, was it a tedious process to get to where you...
It took 2 years.
2 years?
2 years.
Okay.
Because you have to sort all the documents, beginning from where Bishop Roberts was born. He was born on Newgate Street in Antigua, and his mother worked at the government house. And her father immigrated to Panama to help to build a Panama Canal zone, and he never came back.
Okay.
Right. So therefore, and then he went to school, he became a bishop, but before that he was an elevator operator. That was his job.
Yeah, so I read that.
Right. So basically, he was a mover and a shaker. And then the depression came, and he had to look about his people. So therefore, he gathered 22 Antiguans with him, and then the society was formed. Then let's get back to the co-name. Why the co-naming? Why do we want to have this bishop that did so much for the country, did so much for Harlem, and it totally get lost in the shuffle? So I usually go up there. Once I go up there, I see like people walking around. And there was a young man that lived across the street. So I went up to him and I said, I'm thinking of getting this block renamed in honor of this bishop. And he said, why not? I grew up here. And I saw the lines to get into this building. You should do it. If you don't do it now, it's never going to happen. So we got the proposal together. I made the presentation to the district manager and the member of the board members, and told them what our mission was. And asked several questions. The first question they asked me, why do you think this is important? I said, because we have to put a page in this history of Harlem that Antigua and Barbuda was represented here, and we helped to build this community. And then Bishop Roberts Jr. was also there with us, and he just felt very emotional at this time in his life, and he's in his late 80s, going into his 90s, that this is happening to his father. Then after that proposal that I did for them, then they came back and said, it's approved by them, but we have to meet with the whole community to present our proposal to them, and they had to bring it to them. So that at that time, they approved it unanimously. Yeah. But before that, we have to do a petition from the block. If you live in that block, you have to sign on to it and says, I agree, but you only need 60%. Okay. So we got our 60%, so that took care of that.
Was it overwhelming? Or
oh, yes. When we went for the total vote, every single person said yes.
And they knew the story?
And then, because we had to tell the story.
You have to tell the story. Okay.
And after that, then it went to the city, the district leader, the council member of our district, which is Senator Perkins at that time. He was now a council member. He had to approve it. From then, it had to go to the council itself in New York City. And there the bureaucracy begins, because each and every council member has to approve it. We didn't get anyone that said they disapprove it, everything, and it passed last December of last year. And then they said we could have the celebration.
In June?
In June 25th. And for June 25th is Caribbean Heritage Month. Yeah. So I thought it was very appropriate that we do it in June. So we did it, and we had a really great celebration. But there's so many people to thank. Yeah. And
just before we get to the many people, what do you think this will do for Antiguans living in the United States, Antiguans knowing his story, having a street named off of him?
Right. Well, I could tell you that I've been getting texts from people. How do I find somebody that was in America, in New York City in the 1900s? How do I get in touch with a society? And so we're just getting questions here and there and what have you. So we, as I said, we have a website. They can go to the website, they can fill out a form, they can become a member. But I think you have to be an Antiguan or Barbudan. Right. But at one point, the Barbudan, they had their own benevolent society. And so we were not a part of Antigua and Barbuda, but then, we got independence and what have you. And then their society, I guess, fell by the wayside, I should say.
Yeah, and of course, and as you said, Junior was on board with this, but keeping Bishop James P. Roberts' name alive.
Alive. It was extremely important because at that point, who's going to know about James P. Roberts? Who's going to know if you don't tell that story? And now that will make people want to know, who is this guy? Why is his name on the street? Yeah. And so they will find out about the society even more.
All right. Other things that the society is doing?
Well, we do a lot of fundraisers. We've done a lot of outreach here in Antigua. I mean, I can remember one story. There's a young footballer, I think it's from the Erlins area. And he was playing the sport that he loved and hurt his leg. And then they found out he had cancer of the leg. Oh, yeah? And so we were able to help him come to New York City in the hospital. And I think they're still there. I think he got legs or what have you happened. I really don't know the end and be all. And then there was quite a few people. William Zizzy Thomas, who had cancer, and he came to New York to get help. And I can say this because, yes, because he had said it also. And we helped him. And there's another Mr. Benjamin who had some kind of nervous disease also. We helped him. We sent barrels. Last year, during the pandemic, we sent a whole shipment of sheets, towels, blankets to the prison. And we do a lot of outreach to the Fines Institute.
So you guys are still very
We're still very busy. There's a lot of work to be done. And, we have to continue the work. It's extremely important that we continue the work of this society.
Yeah, and the society has just kept the name of Bishop James P. Roberts alive for Antiguans and Barbudans and the entire New York City area, Harlem area. to know about it. All right, they gave me the wrap-up signal, so we got to go. But thank you so much for sharing with us. Of course, we learned a lot here this morning. Mona Wyre-Manigo, president of the Antiguan Barbuda Progressive Society in New York City.